Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. And sorry I'm on the avatar, but it's been one of those lazy Sundays today. I hope you've all had a great Sunday, but I haven't actually even left the house. So I'm, to be perfectly honest, I'm still in my pajamas from this morning. So that's why I'm on the avatar. Sorry about that. But anyway, so first of all, I just want to say thank you, my usual thank yous. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, being members, buying me a Ko-fi, PayPaling or sending a super chat, any of those things that you've done to support my channel. Just even for watching, for sending me an email, for putting your fingerprint on the like button, which is this great expression that David came up with. Thank you so much. Okay, so I can turn that off now. Now, see, my dogs have just started fighting. Do you know what? It's literally waited until I start the live and then start fighting as usual. So sorry about that. I think I'll just tell you what I'm going to talk about tonight. So this, as you know, we've been covering the Samantha Murphy case in Australia. No news about that as far as I know. Of course, it is night time there, so we probably won't have any news until like tomorrow as far as Spain's concerned, because I think it'll be sort of very early morning, won't it, in Australia at the moment? Very middle of the night, early morning, probably just about turning into morning. I'm not sure exactly. But anyway, there's been no news as far as I know. I've been checking, so no updates. But by the time tomorrow comes, we may have some updates. They may have found Samantha. But of course, this with Samantha, it just has brought up so much. I mean, Samantha went out for a jog. And we don't know if, well, we can presume that some foul play has befallen her. That's what the police have said. We don't, sorry about the dog. Hey! We don't know if it's like a stranger danger sort of scenario. But the police have said that there's no reason that anyone should feel under threat. So maybe not. We just don't know, do we yet? But of course, other cases, that I've been looking at, the Rachel Morin case. She was walking or jogging on a trail in America, in Maryland. So we've got a case in Australia. Samantha Murphy left to go on a jog at 7 a.m. in the morning, 7:30. Rachel Morin went to do either a walk or a jog. I'm not sure if she was walking or jogging in this sort of early evening, around about 6 o'clock, but in the summer, so it still would have been light. It was in August, and that was in America. So we've got Australia, America, and then just recently in Georgia, America, a young girl called Laken Riley, a namesake of mine. She went out jogging and she was killed round about 12 o'clock in the midday time in Georgia in the USA. And then, of course, a famous case in Ireland not long ago was Ashling Murphy in January 2022. And again, in the sort of, broad daylight, jogging along a river path. And she was murdered. So we've got 4 women there, all different ages. Samantha was 51. Rachel was 37. So Samantha's a mother of 3. Rachel was a mother of 5. Ashling and Laken, they, as far as I know, didn't have any children. They're just young women. So seems like there's no sort of age, particular age that you have to worry about it, that more than others. There's no particular time that a woman can go out jogging and feel safe. Doesn't matter if it's first thing in the morning, midday, early evening. So they weren't jogging at, not that they shouldn't be able to jog at 3 o'clock in the morning if they want to, but they weren't. They weren't jogging in the middle of the night or doing anything that you would think would be dangerous. But it's very irritating, isn't it? So I was thinking about it, thought, oh my God, is this like, you talk about dangerous sports. Is jogging now a dangerous sport as far as women are concerned? And I do think it's something that men maybe can't get their head around a little bit, because I don't think men have that same worry, that same fear. So this is what we're going to talk about. Women, you just should be able to go out for a jog and not have to feel that you're not safe. It's just so wrong. It's like, in the end, women are feeling like prisoners, not only at night, which I think probably for quite a long time women have felt, at night time, and not going into putting yourself in a vulnerable situation, not wearing certain clothes. Sometimes women get blamed, like it'd be, oh, what were they doing there at that time in that isolated place, or what were they doing wearing that, or why were they dressed like that, or why have they, just victim blaming is awful in my opinion. But anyway, it happens. So we're going to look at those 4 cases just to see, what can we learn from them, if anything, and we're going to look at some sort of people talking about how to stay safe when you are jogging or out exercising. And I think I mentioned in the previous video, there's something about the clothes that women wear. Why shouldn't they wear shorts and little tops when it's hot and they're out jogging? Are they supposed to, are you supposed to cover yourself up so that men don't get tempted? I mean, my God, it's ridiculous. Anyway, let me just say hello to everyone before I start. Thank you for being here as well. Hi, David. Oh, David was first tonight. Hi, Tina. Hi, Chumba. Hope you've all had a brilliant Sunday. Hi, Amanda Jane. Don't know what the weather's been like. The weather's been a bit cloudy here, which is why I haven't gone out all day. It's quite nice sometimes. You feel like staying in because then you're all cozy. Hi, DMV. Hi, Rio. Hi, Amethyst. Hi, Annie Brown. Hi, Mariah. So you can't sleep, I take it, or are you up early? Because I think, Mariah, you're in Australia, aren't you? Oh, dear me. They've sort of calmed down a bit now, the dogs, but they're playing. I mean, but just why do they have to play now? They could play anytime. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Heather. Hi, Jackie. The yachts. Rio, have you been on a yacht? Hi, Yvonne. Hope you're feeling okay. Hi, Charlie. Oh, Charlie, you're still ill. That's a bad cold. You've had that for a long time. It's 7 a.m. in Melbourne. All right. Oh, I didn't realise. So people will be getting up at this time then. Yes, dogs. You can rely on them for entertainment. They're just like children. They sit there all day. They don't, And then as soon as I start doing something else or talking to someone, they want your attention. Yeah, so everyone's feeling this, I think, feeling that there's been, that they can't go out. I think. Hi, Unity. Well, the police have said they think she's no longer alive, Unity. Let's put it that way. The police have said they're looking for a body, but we've had nothing confirmed yet. I know, it's funny, that DMV, isn't it? Men can walk around topless and women manage to control themselves, don't they? You know, when you've got tap-saff weather in Scotland, somehow women manage to keep their hands to themselves, don't they? No matter what men have got on. Hi, Maggie. Oh, which is a lot of... I'm finding my way down. I'm getting my way down to the bottom. Okay, so this is it. You know, it's just... Oh, I don't like the way that... Because especially, I think, with the Rachel Morin case, when I've done videos on her, because she was a very glamorous woman, you know, like, you know, and you could tell she'd looked after herself. She'd had, you know, it's evident that she's had some cosmetic surgery, things like that. But why shouldn't she? You know, but that was mentioned sometimes, even in my comments. People made a mention of, you know, I don't know, that she'd had her lips done or so. Why shouldn't she? Or you know, breast implants or something. Why shouldn't she? It's nothing to do with anybody else, what a woman does with her own body. Anyway, hi, Katrina. You've still got your infection. Oh, everyone seems to have been poorly lately. I think it's the time of year. I think it is, you know, January, February is the sort of time of year when people are at a low ebb, aren't they? So they tend to get illnesses. Hi, Desi. Oh, so I want to start with an article from the Australian news, just talking about how the Samantha Murphy case has made female runners worry about their safety more. Because don't forget, the police are saying, you know, that they're looking for a body, and although they're saying there's no danger to people don't know, because one, a body hasn't been found yet. Two, nobody knows who did this to Samantha, and you know, it seems the police are saying that she definitely went out jogging. They say she went out, she turned right and went into the, you know, the bush where she were, well, the path. There is a path through it. I mean, she wasn't running through the bush, she's running on a path. And the police have confirmed that she did do that, and something happened to her, you know, about 7 kilometers away from her home. And that's what, so they think she was taken away from that area. This is what the police have said. So we don't know what happened to her. You know, we don't know if she was run over by a car. We don't know if someone targeted her. We just don't know. But what the police have told us is that, in their opinion, she's no longer alive, and she did meet with some foul play. So, of course, these kind of things, these high-profile cases, they make people think, especially when the perpetrator is still out there. So this is an article on the Australian news. Samantha Murphy case cements female runners' safety fears as more now opt to exercise in groups. Now, it's all very well exercising in a group, but, you know, it's difficult because, you know, for me, for example, I like to go out very early in the morning, or I like to go out, I mean, I don't jog, but walking the dogs, for example, when I feel like going out. The trouble is, when you do organised activities with groups, is you are restricted to you have to arrange it. And if it comes to the time and maybe you've run out, you haven't got the time because you've got things to do at home, or maybe you're ready to go at 7 o'clock in the morning and this group's not going out till 8, and then you've got to hang around. And to me, I think that can be annoying, if you've not got much time and you just want to go out when you've got the time and you get organised, and boom, if you want to go out and do whatever it is you're doing, having to do it in an organised activity can be a bit irritating, I think. Well, for someone like me who doesn't always do everything at the same time, if you've got a regimented lifestyle where you do things at certain times, certain days, maybe it worked better. But anyway, in short, Samantha Murphy's disappearance. Oh, sorry, and the other thing I just want to say is, because it's annoying as well, because these are beautiful places. These places where you want to go and run, where you want to go and walk your dogs because they're beautiful, the woods, nature trails, etc. It's like you're denied it, like it's like women are on, a sort of, it's like something that you can't do, whereas men can do it and you can't do it. So it's like you're restricted from doing it, like you're the prisoner. That's what really irritates me so much. I mean, maybe they should have some security or something, or certainly more CCTV, etc. In this day and age now, there's no reason why there can't be some safety precautions, apart from the safety precautions that you yourself can take as a woman. Surely these areas, they should be made safer for people. Anyway, that's what I think. So, and it's not only for women, because as I've said before, for all you men out there that are watching, you all have partners, daughters, sisters. It affects everybody. If it doesn't affect you directly, it affects someone you know. So, Samantha Murphy's disappearance has renewed safety concerns amongst women runners, but many say they've always taken precautions. So, the founder of a national women's running group says that 90% of members join because they don't feel safe running alone. So, an expert in gendered violence says women should be consulted in the planning of public safeties to improve safety. Now, this lady Erin, has not run in the forest near her home in Ballarat since Samantha Murphy disappeared on February the 4th. So we're now on the 25th of February, and she's not felt safe enough to go out and run because she lives in the area. So extensive searches of the Canadian plantation area where Miss Murphy often went. Yeah, they're doing this Ms. Murphy. People have speculated about that. Why? Better that she's called Ms. Murphy instead of just Murphy, as some of them refer to her. But yeah, why Ms. and not Mrs.? Just strange. Or is that common in Australia? I don't know. Anyway, it's where she often went for regular runs. Have so far found no trace of the 51-year-old mother of 3. And on Friday, as the search neared its 4th week, police said they were now focusing on a specific area of the forest. Well, that was the Mount Clear area. And we know now that they've done that search. Whether they found anything or not, they have not let us know. So that's adjacent. The area they searched is adjacent to the Ballarat suburb of Mount Clear, following analysis of phone data. And yeah, we don't know all the details. So there's Samantha, bless her. I've got the candle, I've been lighting a candle every day for all these people that are missing, or, just want her to be brought home to a family one way or another, because her children must be living in, it just must be absolute torture. Anyway, Erin knows the area well and understands why the forest tracks through the Canadian plantation are so attractive to runners. She used to run along them up to 3 times a week. But she said since Miss Murphy disappeared, she and her friends have been avoiding the area, which is fair enough, you would. Until it's known what has happened to Samantha, you could not go in that area. Well, I wouldn't be able to. I loved the remoteness. I loved the scenery, the trees. It was really relaxing, but now I'd struggle to relax in that setting, she said. So City of Ballarat councillor and avid runner Samantha McIntosh said it had been a really challenging time for many locals. It's very hard for our community to not be thinking and talking of Samantha Murphy and her family, she said. And it must have taken over the whole community, really. That ability to go for a jog or a run, whether it be with friends or on your own, is a really important and healthy thing to do. But she said Ms. Murphy's disappearance meant she no longer felt safe heading out for a run on her own, and many of her friends feel the same way. We need to run it in at least pairs. We need to make sure we have a telephone on us, she said. We need to be connected to the likes of Strava, which is an internet tracking service. We need to make sure that we've got a watch that connects to our phone. We know that we have to take precautions because extra precautions because we just don't know what happened to this beautiful woman. Runners are changing routes, so women feeling unsafe while exercising on their own is not a new phenomenon, and it's not isolated to the Ballarat region in central Victoria. On the other side of the state, in the coastal town of Inverloch, Michelle Harris said she often felt unsafe running in the early morning. I'll wear a headlight. No, see, the early morning is a good time for going. For me, early morning, taking the dogs out, it's the only time, and especially when it comes to the summer, which I imagine is what's going on there. It's so hot the rest of the day that the only time really that you can go out comfortably is in the early hours of the morning, because in the summer, if I don't get my dogs out before sort of 9 o'clock, really, it's too hot to take them out. It's too hot for them. Because it's 40 degrees, so, but sometimes in the winter when you go out early, it can be dark. Anyway, so she says, I'll wear a headlight. That's a good idea, a headlight, isn't it? But in rural and regional areas, often there's no street lighting in all the places you like to run. So we might change our running routes or go in a group of people. But of course, it is important that women feel that they can do it. So Miss Harris, so they're calling her Ms. as well, so maybe it's just something they do. Miss Harris, who works at the community sport organisation GIP Sport, said another strategy among runners was carrying a mobile phone and a smartwatch to contact others if needed and to track their movements. Strava has different privacy settings. I block the start and finish of my run so people don't know where I'm going. Yeah, so you have to be careful with Strava. That came up, didn't it, when we were looking at the Nicola Bulley case? Because then people can track where you're going. Oh, dear. You can't win, really, can you? So I block the start and finish of my run so people don't know where I'm going near my house, for example. And you can limit who can see where you go running. Miss Harris said she wished women didn't need to feel fearful. It makes me really sad because there's so many barriers for women and girls to be active. Women have the right to use public spaces to get out there and be active. Of course they have the right. Gosh. Women are regulating their behaviour. So, what's irritating is women have to regulate their behaviour because of what men do. That's so irritating. So the co-convener of Deakin University's Network Against Gendered Violence, Associate Professor Mary Iliadis, said women were forced to constantly self-police their behaviour due to social conditioning. We live in a world that is created by men for men's purpose. Historically, women were not considered as capable, as powerful, or as autonomous as men in our society, she said. So women are subconsciously regulating their behaviours. From a young age, girls and women are told to protect themselves from harm, and that includes the fear of potential harm and that actual harm. And Dr. Iliadis said the threat of harm deterred many people from running. Not only is the risk of stranger danger a consideration for them, but also the risk to their personal safety by people known to them. Sorry, just had a bit of water. Oh, so Mary Iliadis says women face real threats to their safety in public spaces from current or former partners. You wouldn't think you would think you would be safe in a public space, but you're not. So Dr. Iliadis cited data from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, which showed 1 in 5 women and more than 1 in 15 men had experienced stalking since the age of 15. So while tracking technology could be helpful in letting loved ones know where a person was planning to exercise, it can also be used for more sinister purposes. And I've said before, I'll tell you, when I was stalked 27 years ago, thank God there was not all, because it was bad enough without all this tracking data and social media and that. I'm just thinking would have been an absolute nightmare, because my ex-partner, he was just on everything. He was like, one of our friends said to me, he was just like Sherlock Holmes. He was onto everything, investigating everything, trying to find out where I was. So if he would have had these kind of things, unfortunately, although technology maybe makes you feel more safe in one way, but it also gives the opportunity to people who are that way inclined, to find out where you are and what you're doing. You've got to be so careful what you put on social media, etc. Anyway, running technology could cause a sense of hypervigilance because of the risk of harm women might be exposed to in a domestic and family violence context, she said. This is not to say women should not be using technologies, but it's absolutely something we need to be focusing on in terms of how perpetrators can use and weaponize technologies. So these high-profile cases, they cement fears, don't they? They do. They make us more aware. So Ms. Murphy's disappearance, while out exercising on her own, it follows other high-profile cases in recent years where women have been attacked while running or walking by themselves. So these are in Australia, but we're going to look at these other 3 cases as well. So in June last year, serial rapist Joel Russo was jailed for 20 years. That's a good sentence for after attacking it. Well, I say that, but he'd be out sometime, won't he? After attacking a woman who was jogging along Merry Creek in Melbourne's inner north on the evening of December the 3rd, 2019. I don't want to really go into the details, but yeah, let's not go into the details. Yeah, and I remember this. I was watching a video about Eurydice Dixon. She's a comedian from Melbourne, and she was killed in June 2018. And she wasn't jogging; she was walking home through a park from a nighttime gig. That she was a stand-up comedian, and she was just walking home. And her killer, James Todd, he had stalked her for an hour before attacking her, and he was given a life sentence with non-parole of 35 years. Again, that's quite a good sentence, but really it should be life, means life. Anyway, and at the time of Eurydice's murder, 80% of men said they felt safe walking alone at night, but only 50% of women said the same. I'm actually surprised that even 50% said the same, to be honest. So the gap between how men and women felt about their safety when walking alone at night was higher in Australia than any other of the other 38 countries which are included in the OECD's Better Life Index. So, of course, there's been this newfound interest in running since the COVID-19, since that, because people were so bloody trapped indoors during COVID, or maybe then sometimes the only way they could get outdoors was to go and do some exercise. You know, they were allowed, don't know exactly what the rules were in Australia, but here in Spain, you were, as the rules relaxed, not in the beginning, you were only allowed out in the beginning to walk a dog. You certainly weren't allowed out to jog. But as they started to relax the rules gradually, they started releasing people could go out. There'd be certain times that people could go out, you know, like depending on your age. So I don't know, I can't remember what they were now, but let's say if you were over 60, you could go out between 7 and 8 in the morning. If you were over 40, it'd be between 8 and 9. So, you know, they gave everybody an hour slot that they could go out and exercise, but they could only go out during the time slot that was appropriate for their age. So the popularity of community running events has surged in recent years, with about 4,000 enthusiasts lacing up their shoes for the first park run event each week. And the head coach and founder of Run Like a Girl Australia, Danielle Bryan, said about 90% of her group's members joined because they felt safer running with others. And she said, Miss Bryan said that one of her group's members was punched by a stranger when running alone. Oh, you know, why? Why? What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with them? I don't know. You know, that's it. It's been that, if you know, if you like sort of being out in remote countryside and that, why shouldn't you be able to go on your own if you want to? Okay. So now I think, you know, we've been talking about Samantha a lot, so I think most of you probably know about Samantha's story, you know, and I've just talked about a little bit before. But what you may not know about, I mean, I have covered the Rachel Morin case. Let's just have a look at Rachel. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, old hippie. So I want to show. I've got some pictures of Rachel somewhere. Yeah, so here are the pictures of Rachel Morin. She's the lady that now the Photoshop has been released of the man who murdered her. We still, you know, even though the police have got his DNA, they still have not caught this guy. And just to let you know that the girl that has been murdered recently, who's jogging, they did look at the DNA and to see if it was connected to this guy, but it's not him. It's not the guy. They have got a person of interest. We're going to look at that. And there was some sort of speculation that it may be him, but it's not him. So yeah, you can see Rachel's a very distinctive woman, very beautiful, very attractive, and it's likely that he was stalking her. You know, it's very possible that he was stalking her, the police have said, but here's his photo fit. So that's another case we've been looking at. So there's been Samantha Murphy, Rachel Morin. These are cases that we have been looking at. And that's one from Australia, one from Maryland in America. So now I want to talk about this recent one. And this is Laken Riley. This young girl, again, out jogging in the middle of the morning. She's a nurse, a student nurse. This is in Georgia, in America. Went out for a jog and was attacked and murdered just recently. Let me just read you the details of it. So I haven't even got around to covering this yet because there's been, it's been a lot of it has been about Samantha, of course, lately. I've got the story somewhere. So let's have a look what we know about the suspect. So somebody has been arrested. And there's a lot of, because the guy who's been arrested, he is an illegal immigrant. And also his brother's been arrested. So there's a lot more to come out about this. But let's just have a look at this video.
Apartment. We're told that man's name is Jose Antonio Ibarra. He's 26 years old. Ongoing investigation. As we're told right now, there are still detectives who are at an apartment complex who are using a search warrant to go through this suspect's apartment. We're told that man's name is Jose Antonio Ibarra. He's 26 years old, and he's a non-U.S. citizen, they believe from Venezuela. What we're told, they believe this was a crime of opportunity and that he was on this popular trail when that young lady was running by and then he attacked. Listen to the...
So there's a lot of similarities between this case and Rachel Morin. So no wonder they initially, they've checked it out, and as far as I can gather, it is not him. They say it is not the same guy, but the similarities are, striking, to be honest.
The police chief from UGA talk about this investigation just in the last hour.
He has been charged with the following: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another.
Laken Riley. She was 22. She was a nursing student from Augusta University College of Nursing. You see her face there. You can understand the pain on this campus. We were outside her sorority today. You could see some of her fellow sisters. They were just crying. They were beside themselves. This is really shaking this campus. There hasn't been a murder on this campus in some 20 years. And this young lady was running on a trail that she loved to run. A lot of people go out there with their dogs. And apparently this man chased her, grabbed her, and then tried to conceal her body. We watched as detectives all day long worked through a wood line, went through trash cans. They were trying to gather evidence. From what we're told, there's also video evidence in this case, and they couldn't get into all of that today, but we're told maybe parts of the attack were captured on that video surveillance.
Gosh, so maybe some of the attack was captured on video surveillance. Oh gosh, dear me, dear me. Hi Alana. I want to have a look at. Let me see. So I'm going to show you this now, a bit more about that poor girl's murder. So this is the ABC News. So the police have arrested a man in the killing of the nursing student at the University of Georgia. A 26-year-old man was arrested Friday in the killing of, at least they have him, but you know what, it doesn't bring her back, does it? Her body was found on the University of Georgia campus. Police said he did not know the victim. Apparently, he acted alone, and there was no further threat to the university community. And he has been identified as Athens resident Jose Antonio Ibarra, and he was taken into custody for the death of 22-year-old Laken Riley. And the body of the Augusta University College of Nursing student was found near running trails Thursday, launching a highly visible police investigation that centred on an apartment complex just south of there. So video from campus security and other technology led the police to Ibarra. Thank God for bloody CCTV, really, who lived in one of the apartments. So they must have seen, they've looked at the CCTV, obviously seen him flee the scene and go to one of these apartments. So they say they have robust evidence. They believe it was a solo act. And they said the investigation suggests that the suspect and the victim had no relationship. It was a crime of opportunity where he saw an individual and bad things happened. So as they just said then, he faces charges: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. So authorities were taking him to the Athens Clark County Jail. Just throw away the key, please. Anyway, it wasn't immediately known if Ibarra had an attorney who could speak on his behalf. Clark said Ibarra does not have an extensive criminal history and is not a US citizen, but he did not know Ibarra's immigration status. Oh God, they're calling her Riley again. Why do they keep doing this? Why can't they call people by their first names? So Laken's body was discovered Thursday afternoon after a friend told police she had not returned from a morning run. And officers immediately began a search, and they found her body in a forested area near Lake Herrick that includes trails popular with runners and walkers. So they determined that she died, unfortunately, before the officers found her, and the cause of death was blunt force trauma. It does sound so similar, doesn't it, to the Rachel Morin case? So she studied at the University of Georgia through the spring of 2023 before transferring to the school. Right, now I have got... let me just finish this off. And on my Twitter, JLR, he did a little post on it saying about the similarity between the killer of Rachel Morin and the killer of this girl, and so similar. It's just horrible. In a way, you wish it had been him, because it's horrible to think that there are two people. He's still out there, and there's somebody else doing exactly the same thing. What's wrong with these twonks? Anyway, her sister Lauren paid tribute to her on Friday in an Instagram post, calling her the best sister and my built-in best friend from the very first second. This is not fair, and I will never understand it, but I know you're in heaven with the man you love most. Right now, that I presume that will be their dad, will it? I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but it's all going to be for you from now on. I cannot wait to give you the biggest hug someday. I will miss and love you forever, Laken. Oh. So the school superintendent said our community in our world has lost a shining light with the tragic passing of Laken, an outstanding scholar athlete. Laken inspired classmates and teachers with her love of learning and her kindness to all. We ask that the community please keep her family in their hearts. So the area where Laken was found, not Riley, please, is near the campus's intramural fields, whatever that means, and only a little farther from a large dormitory complex occupied mostly by first-year students. Officials had advised students to travel in groups and avoid the area. Police set up a mobile command post. So first year business major Paige Soskell, who was having coffee Friday with a friend in downtown Athens, said she was stunned to think that Riley Laken was killed during the day. It was just kind of surreal, there's that word again, surreal, to think that we have friends in the sorority that she was in, and just to think that it's somebody that people we know actually know is just scary, that it could be anyone. So her father has sent her some pepper spray, and she said she already tries to let people know where she is using an online tracker. God, maybe we should all have a chip so that if we go missing, people know where we are. Anyway. So the classes at the campus have been cancelled, but they said it would remain open as a gathering place for students, faculty and staff. However, there weren't many people there in the afternoon. No reporters being allowed inside. Oh my God, they'd already had a death there. I wonder if that's connected. So students at the University of Georgia were already shaken after a student was found dead in his dorm room Wednesday, and an armed robbery took place in the centre of the campus on the night of February the 16th. But police said there's no reason to believe these incidents were connected to Laken's death. So they're saying that murder is relatively rare, with the city averaging 6 per year, which is about half of Georgia's statewide rate. But there are above average other crimes, including assault, aggravated assault, burglary, RAPE, and motor vehicle theft. Yeah, and there was a similar killing in Tennessee in 2022. So this is another one. And this shocked people nationwide. Eliza Fletcher, 34, was abducted during a pre-dawn run near the University of Memphis, and her body was found days later. And there is somebody who has been arrested, Cleotha Abston, and he has pled not guilty to charges including first-degree murder and especially aggravated kidnapping. Okay, so let me just, where's a photo of her? No photo of her on there, but anyway. Let me see, So here, you should be able to see this now. JLR posted this. I have received confirmation that Jose Antonio Ibarra did not murder Rachel Morin, but similarities were close enough that the HCSO, which I have no idea what that means, reached out to GALE. I do hate initials because I never know what they are. But here we go. So this is the suspect in the Rachel Morin case, and here is the guy who has been arrested for the murder of Laken. And you can see there is definitely similarity, but it's you see the similarity there. I sort of almost wish it had been him, because then they'd feel that at least he was off the streets, because where is he? Where is this guy? You know, and he's just, you know, done this massive, you know, this horrible murder of Rachel, where he's, you know, apparently just obliterated a face for some reason. So, you know, he needs catching. And then, of course, he did the other, you know, we haven't been told the exact details of the other crime that he did in Los Angeles. But it feels like, again, every time the police talk about it, they come out with more details. And it started off as something that wasn't that serious, didn't seem that serious. And now it seems like the police are saying that if this bloody twonk hadn't been sort of interrupted with what he was doing in Los Angeles, it would have ended up exactly the same. You know, he would have ended up doing exactly the same to the girl, the young girl there, that he did to Rachel. So, bye, Annie. Sorry. Hi, Amethyst. Hi, Maggie. Alana. Yeah. There's, you know, there's always a problem, you know. I don't know what it is with, you just have to hope that these people are in the system. The problem is when they're not in the system, isn't it? And or the problem is like we had, well, in Britain they had with that Abdul Zedi or whatever his name was, that they've now, you know, confirmed that it was his body that they found in the Thames, who attacked his ex-partner, didn't he, with some sort of alkaline substance and has caused a life-changing injuries. But luckily she is alive and her children are okay. And then it turned out that, you know, that he had been granted citizenship, even though he had a record for sex offences. That's what I just don't understand. You know, why are people allowed to be given citizenship if they've already committed a crime? You know, especially that sort of crime. I mean, it's not shoplifting. You know, it's not like, you know, just you haven't got any money and you're hungry and you steal I don't know, a tray of eggs or something. I mean, you're talking about, you know, crimes against the person. But anyway, so they do look similar. I do think they look similar, but that's what makes you worried, because you think, my God, not only do they look similar, their crimes are similar. How many other twonks are there out there doing these things? Yeah. Well, Caroline, they're saying it's not him. It's not him. So anyway, time will tell. It'll come out. If there must be DNA, there will be DNA. Maybe it's early days for them to completely rule him out. Yeah, but I don't know. So this is the recent case of Laken. When did it actually happen? Just let me check when it actually happened. So it was the Friday before February the 23rd. Where are we now? So it was last Friday. So this is very recent that this happened. So that's 3 now that we've looked at. So we've got, you know, they're all sort of different types, different ages, going out at different times, but all going onto trails. You know, we've got Rachel going out about 6 o'clock in the evening. We've got Samantha going out at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then Laken going out round, well, she was found round about 12-ish. So presuming she was out sort of mid-morning. Now, what we're going to look at now, I'll just have a little drink of water because I'm getting too much talking. This is another case, and this is a case from a little while ago. This happened in January 2022, and this was Ashling Murphy, who was a teacher. So Samantha Murphy, her job, if you like that, she worked at their business, didn't her and her husband's business. She's like the admin person at the Smash Repairs business. Don't know what Rachel did I don't know what her profession was. I don't know what her job was. Probably looking after the 5 kids that she had. Maybe she wasn't working. Well, she'd be working. When you've got 5 kids, you're definitely working. But it's a different, it's not like a job. You don't get paid for it, but it's still a job. And Laken was a trainee nurse, a nursing student, and Ashling Murphy was a teacher. Hi, Jim. So let's have a look at Ashling's case, which again, just very sad. Now, let me just show you some pictures of Ashling. So this was in Ireland that this happened. And this is Ashling. And Ashling, I believe, was 22 years old. She had a boyfriend. She was a teacher. This is the guy. This is the twonk that did it to Ashling. And it's a very strange thing because she was running by the river, by this river path, and the guy, don't know if he was lying in wait, or again, I don't know if it was just a spontaneous attack, like they're saying, a sort of a crime of opportunity, or whether he had stalked Ashling and knew where she ran. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But anyway, let's have a look at the case. So this was when he was found guilty. This is the story in Sky News on the day that he was found guilty.
Ashling was a vibrant, intelligent and highly motivated young woman who embodied so many great traits and qualities of the Irish people and its communities. Her life had a huge impact on so many of those around her, and she was the epitome of a perfect role model for every little girl to look up to and strive to be.
Oh.
She was not only an integral part of our family, but she was also a huge shining light in our community, a community in which, year in, year out, she gave back to as best she could. Words cannot express the gratitude to all members of An Garda Síochána who conducted and pieced together a robust and thorough investigation.
Ashling was subject to incomprehensible violence by a predator who was not known to her. While we do not glory in any conviction, we recognise the importance of holding accountable those who would commit such terrible atrocities. The judicial process cannot bring our darling Ashling back, nor can it heal our wounds. But we are relieved that this verdict delivers justice. It is simply imperative that this vicious monster can never harm another woman again.
Yeah, now, and the families are always so gracious, aren't they? So sort of, strong. I mean, I'm sure they're not strong when they get home and everything, but you just don't know how these families cope really with these sort of situations. And it's not actually finished, this case, even though it was a couple of years ago and he has been found guilty. But I believe his wife and another member of his family, they're coming up for trial next year. Why next year? I don't know why they've had to wait so long for a trial, for sort of hiding evidence and, covering up and helping out this twonk. So that's something to look out for next year. So anyway, what date was this when he was found guilty? Oh, so this was only November last year, Thursday the 9th of November. A man has been found guilty of the murder of Irish teacher Ashling Murphy, and she was killed while she was out exercising along a canal in Tullamore, County Offaly in January last year. Oh God, the Fitbit. She was wearing a Fitbit which showed her exercise started at 2:51 p.m. So it was the middle of the afternoon. But 30 minutes later, it tracked erratic, violent movements. And by 3:31 p.m., it was no longer recording a heartbeat. Now, you know, when you think about the Nicola Bulley case and all that about the Fitbit, and the Fitbit carried on working, didn't it? Afterwards, how come this one stopped? You know, that's interesting, isn't it? Because there's been all this, you know, the Fitbit in the Nicola Bulley case has been such a bone of contention, hasn't it? And they're saying that the water movement, if she was in the water, this is what they said at the inquest, didn't they, when they decided that she fell into the river, which, as you know, I don't believe that. But and they said that they counted for the movement of the Fitbit after the time that they said she'd gone into the river, because they said the water movement would make it transmit. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that now and how silly it sounds. But whereas in this case, at 3:31 p.m., the Fitbit was no longer recording any heartbeat. So that's something to think about, isn't it? So Mr. Murphy's death drew outrage across Ireland and the UK, prompting calls for more to be done about femicide. I mean, the problem is that every time something like this happens, there's a big outcry, and, you know, there's outcry and call to do something about femicide, and then nothing happens. And then until the next time, then there's another big outcry. But whatever changes? Nothing. So, of course, this must have been during January 2022. He's got his face mask on. So, Joseph Puska, 33, of Mucklagh, Tullamore, was convicted by a jury of 9 men and 3 women who reached their unanimous guilty verdict after beginning deliberations at the Central Criminal Court in Dublin on Wednesday. He had pled not guilty. Do you know, this twonk pled not guilty. He was seen at the scene actually stabbing her by a witness, and he still pled not guilty. What a twonk. You know, at least he could have the grace to plead guilty. Anyway, members of the family, the victim's family, cried and hugged each other after the guilty verdict, while Puska briefly placed his head in his hands before staring at the floor. So it's telling you here, during the trial, the court heard a man was seen in a ditch with a woman believed to be Miss Murphy. So he was actually killing her at that time, stabbing her, and he shouted for a witness to go away. And the witness said that Miss Murphy appeared to be fighting back, but not making any noise. So they're using them as, it must be common to use them as. Yeah, that's true. The real issue is male violence, not women's safety. Why did he do that? Anyway, Judge Mr. Justice Tony Hunt told the jury, we have evil in this room. And he said there will be a day of reckoning for Puska. The judge said the case was particularly difficult given the kind of person that she obviously was. So these are some, let's have a look at this video.
Do not be afraid, I am with
Yeah, I might start crying now.
She was the light of their lives, and the murder of 23-year-old Ashling Murphy has stunned Ireland. The president and his wife comforted her parents, brother, sister and boyfriend as they arrived for her funeral. The primary school teachers' class of 5 and 6-year-olds had waited outside the church to say goodbye. The Prime Minister, Taoiseach Micheál Martin, was also there to hear her family's emotional tribute.
Ashling epitomised the beauty of life, shared her passion, gifts and talents with others so generously. We pray for her friends, colleagues and students. May Ashling's legacy live in the hearts of all she touched. Lord, hear us.
Lord, graciously hear us.
Ashling Murphy was attacked while jogging beside the Grand Canal in Tullamore, County Offaly. The nature of her death has prompted an outpouring of grief, anger and hope for a change in attitudes.
We pray that the many vigils that took place in memory of Ashling mark the beginning of an end to violence against women. May the candlelight tributes bring an everlasting hope to all those that live in fear.
In a post on social media, Ashling's sister Amy described her as the heart of their family. She excelled in the sport of camogie and played the fiddle, her family well known in the traditional music community. And here, deep in the heart of Ireland, musicians honoured one of their own as she made her final journey. David Blevins, Sky News in Mount Bolus.
So I'm glad that I'm on the avatar because I did get quite upset there. So speaking of the Murphy family, he said their position is unenviable. How their child was taken away, to consider what happened here is enough to make you physically ill. The jury were applauded as they exited the chamber, as Miss Murphy's mother held up a framed photograph of her daughter. The judge said he had asked for silence, but he said the applause was understandable. And loved ones pay tribute to Miss Murphy. Her partner said, well, we listened to what they said, to be fair. Ashling was a vibrant, intelligent and highly motivated young woman who embodied so many great traits and qualities of the Irish people and its communities. Her life had a huge impact on so many of those around her, and she was the epitome of a perfect role model for every little girl to look up to and strive to be. She was not only an integral part of our family, but she was also a huge shining light in our community. Her brother, Cathal Murphy, said Ashling was subject to incomprehensible violence, a predator who was not known to her. The judicial process cannot bring our darling Ashling back, nor can it heal our wounds, but we are relieved that this verdict delivers justice. It is simply imperative that this vicious monster can never harm another woman again. Gosh, a lot of people there. Oh. So, Women's Aid welcomed the conviction, saying in a statement, the murder of Ashling Murphy was a shocking example of dangers posed to women, and the case puts spotlight on the inherent risk of male violence in society. Every woman should have the right to be safe both in their homes and in their communities. One man goes to jail today, but this will not bring Ashling back or compensate for her heart-rending loss. Effective criminal justice sanctions are vital, and we truly hope this offers some measure of justice and closure to Ashling's family and friends. Gosh. You know, I don't think it's ever been clear, sort of why he did it. Like, most of the time there'll be a motive, won't it? Be it RAPE or, I don't know, robbery or something. But I don't think it's ever been clear with this that there is a motive. I don't know what the motive was. So the guy that you can see there, Slovak, he's Slovakian, father of 5, Joseph Puska. He was born in 1990, so he's not that old. And he moved in 2013. That's when he moved to Ireland with his wife and 2 children. He already had family that had already moved to Dublin. His parents lived in Dublin, and his brothers and their families lived in Tullamore. Now, he had no previous convictions for violent crime, but he had been a person of interest in 2 other assaults on women, one in Prague and the other in the UK. But he did not know Ashling prior to the attack, and he had no known motive for murdering her. There were some online rumours that she had as a teacher, she had reported him to the Child and family agency, but this was debunked during the trial. So although he was married, he had become active on dating apps in the weeks before her murder, and he had interacted with up to 8 Irish women in the area. And they believe the Gardaí believed that he may have attacked her for sex intentions, but then when she fought back, that's why he killed her, because she turned out to, not be the easy pushover that he thought she was going to be. But again, he was seen on CCTV cycling, and that's how he was linked. Now, I want to. It's like these things when they happen. It's like, do you know that expression, a perfect storm? It's like, the thought of them both setting off on their days. Ashling's setting off to do her run. He's setting off to, I don't know that he was actually setting off with the intention of killing somebody, but it's like their fates, their paths crossed, and then he's taken advantage of the fact of seeing her. Apparently he had been following other women that same afternoon. So he was looking for someone. So he'd been cycling slowly behind one woman. CCTV evidence showed him cycling slowly behind one woman, Beata Borowska, as she walked along the road to the Tesco supermarket around 1:30. And then when she went in the supermarket, he stopped following her, but then shortly afterwards began following another woman, Anne-Marie Kelly, as she was walking her dog on Church Road around 2. So she felt uneasy, and she tried to evade him by taking a different route, choosing the muddy, grassy side of the canal without a paved walkway, in the hopes that he wouldn't attempt to cycle there. But he carried on following her, walking behind her while pushing his bike, until she reached a bridge, Digby Bridge, where other people were present, and then she did not see him again. So those 2 women were lucky. He was looking for someone then. He was definitely looking for someone. So, and then unfortunately, poor Ashling, she finished work at 2:30, and then she left the school grounds and decided to go for a run. Went straight for a run, and unfortunately that twonk was there, and that was it. Dear me. Now, I just want to tell you about that, because, it looks like he overpowered her, dragged her off the towpath into a ditch, where he stabbed her repeatedly. And then there were 2 female joggers going past, Jenna Stack and Ivy Maron, and they were also primary school teachers, and they were the ones that witnessed the attack. And they called to her that they thought they heard noises in the ditch, and they thought someone had fallen off their bike, so they were shouting to them, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" And they saw him crouching over her, holding her down in the undergrowth, and she could. They unfortunately they didn't have a phone with them, so they realised that something was wrong, and they shouted to him to get off her, but he told them to go away, and then they had to run for help because neither of them were carrying a phone. But unfortunately, it was too late for Ashling. That he ran off, and when they went back there, they found that she was dead. How awful, awful. So just was what I was looking for. Was this thing about his family, because somebody else Yeah. So on the 13th of June in 2023, the Gardaí arrested 3 women and 2 men, all Slovakian nationals in their 30s, and they were identified as Puska's wife, Lucia, 2 of his brothers, Lubomir and Marek, and their respective wives, Viera and Josefina. And they've been the brothers have been charged with withholding information, impeding an arrest. And their trials are due to begin on the 28th of April 2025 and will all be heard together. Gosh, how could they protect him after he'd done that? Anyway. Okay, so what I want to do to finish off is to read to you. So we've looked at those incidents are all women going out jogging. Something nefarious has happened, and we don't know the full details of what's happened to Samantha Murphy yet. But what I want to do to finish off is to read to you some advice, that runners give, like for women, because there may be some of you out there who go running, or you may have family who go out running, your daughter, your wife, your sister, who knows. It's important that people are complete, I'm so reluctant to say to people that they shouldn't go out and do women should be able to go out and run next to a canal or, run through a trail. But at least all you can do is make sure it's safe as possible. So let's have a look. Oops. Let's see how we can minimize danger, at least. So this is, it's called Medium, this site. Why I run alone and how to do it safely as a woman. So for any of you who run, or you know anyone who runs, men and women really, I mean, I think the same safety advice applies to men and women. So a record number of first-time female joggers are taken to the streets, and here's why and how they should continue post-lockdown. So this article was written in April 2020. Sort of obviously COVID. It's the COVID thing that has made, people have turned to jogging, etc. I mean, maybe you'd be better off getting a treadmill, but you can just do it in your living room. But it's not the same, is it? People people jog or walk out in the countryside or out in open areas because it's good for their mental health, and then they have to worry about not being safe. Anyway, why don't you check out that club? Could it be more fun than running by yourself? This is what the lady who's writing the article says. I've lost track of how many times I've heard this. I started running as a teenager, and since then I've been encouraged to join everything from casual jogging groups to professional associations by do-gooding friends wanting to boost my social life and family who are worried about a girl running alone. I've flirted with the idea and I even gave it a go a few times, but I've quickly realised it wasn't for me. I despise treadmills, actually gyms full stop, and so I've spent the last 20 odd years pounding the pavements alone. It's how I've trained for 6 marathons and counting. It is the basis of my Sunday morning ritual, and it has helped my postpartum recovery. So apparently female runners now outnumber their male counterparts. So with around 1/5 of the global population now in lockdown, this was obviously during COVID, there's been a huge uptick in the number of people running, and it struck me how many of them are women. Indeed, even in the pre-COVID-19 world, female runners had started to outnumber their male counterparts. So many of them aren't taken to the streets alone by choice. Rather, it's because during lockdown, this is a rare form of sanctioned outdoor activity. But they should know that these do-gooders I mentioned at the start are wrong on both counts. So this is her opinion, running by yourself is a joy. And while attacks on solo female runners are a tragic reality, it doesn't have to be dangerous. By taking certain precautions, you can safely reap the rewards of setting out alone. Why run solo? The solitude. For me, this is the biggest upside. It may be the only real alone time you have all week, and it's a rare opportunity to process your thoughts and let your mind wander. After a bad day, an argument, or finding myself in a rut, the combination of endorphins and solitude is cathartic. Scientists have found that exercise increases blood flow to the part of our brains associated with clear thinking. Yeah, because it's the endorphins, isn't it? Yeah. It's easier to tap into this mindfulness when there is no one around to distract you. And I can see that. I mean, I quite like walking with people. It goes quickly then, if you're going out and you're walking, and sometimes it can make you do it when you don't feel like doing it, if you like. So like same as going to the gym. If your friend's coming round to get you to go to the gym, on the day that you don't really maybe feel like it, but you'll go because you know your friend wants to go. So I suppose there's that to it. Maybe you're more inclined to do it if you're doing it with somebody else. But yeah, sometimes you don't want to talk. You won't want to talk when you're running. I mean, I won't be able to talk if I was running. I'd be struggling to breathe. Never mind talk. But it's quite funny here because here in Spain, cycling is really popular. And Sundays, there's bloody cycling clubs out. You can't hardly get anywhere without a cycling club of about 100 people, and they're all chatting. I just think, how do they do it? Because the Spanish people like to chat. So they're not like in a single file where you can overtake them, if you're in the car or whatever. They're like in a row or in a gang, and they're all chatting between themselves. They love chatting. It doesn't, and I often think, my God, if I was cycling, because they cycle miles and it's very hilly, I was thinking, my God, I don't think I'd be able to talk. But anyway, sorry, I've got a bit sidetracked there. So explore. It's an opportunity to discover new areas. Through marathon training, I've weaved my way through the most vibrant suburbs of South London, from Brixton to Crystal Palace, Dulwich to Balham. My sense of direction is better than those born and bred in these areas. And along the way, I've made countless discoveries, including independent cafes, vintage clothing shops, and cosy neighbourhood pubs, which I would never have found otherwise. It's also proved an efficient and successful way of scoping out new apartments. The nod. There is a secret unspoken language that binds runners, and it's embodied by the nod. Whenever two solo runners cross paths, there's always a slight tilt of the head, a type of acknowledgement that you're in this together. For me, it brings a wonderful sense of belonging and connection and gives a burst of energy if I'm struggling. I've regularly run in various countries and I attest to the fact it happens everywhere, albeit with a local twist. In Australia, it's often accompanied by good day. In New York, it can extend to a pat on the shoulder. While the mild-mannered Brits are usually more restrained. Oh my God, if you're in Britain and some stranger patted you in the shoulder, God. Oh, I would hate that. Get out my bubble. Get out my bubble. I don't like being touched by strangers. Anyway, there's a picture of her running in the autumn in Milan. That's a beautiful photo, actually, isn't it? With all the leaves. Set your pace. Running alone means, this is another thing that I think is, is true about running or walking alone, because you don't have to try and keep up with someone, or you don't have to slow down for anyone else. Yeah, so running alone means you don't risk pushing yourself to keep up with, nor feel obliged to slow down for anybody else. It means you're less likely to injure yourself and more likely to return from a run feeling satisfied. I do think that's important, going at your own pace. Because if you go with a walking club, I'd always be worried. That I wouldn't really be worried that they couldn't keep up with me. I'd be worried that I couldn't keep up with them. And then I'd be worried as well when they take you off on a walk. Well, unless I actually knew that the walk that they were doing, I wouldn't want it to be in an area that maybe, because there's a lot of, here in Spain, there's a lot of sort of, you'd have to do a lot of climbing up or climb. I'm actually better at climbing up things than going down because I've got no balance. So I always feel dizzy when I look down to try and go down something, though going up is easier. No commitments. And this is a big thing for me. There's the flexibility. The lack of commitments means you run when, how far, and where you want. Doesn't risk becoming just another event to schedule into your busy week. I think when you're going with other people, it can become stressful, sort of worrying about it beforehand. Okay, so attacks on female runners. So for all these reasons, I've persisted with running solo despite the risks. A recent Runners World survey found that 84% of women jogging have been harassed, with some of these situations tragically resulting in death. And then she says, in 2 decades, I've only had one close encounter and it frightened me. So she says that during an early morning run when I was in my early 20s, a guy in his late teens ran up alongside me and refused to leave. He was only joking around and he apologized for scaring me, but it was frightening. So I think you men, one thing that you men can do is not do that, like not make women feel awkward, even if you are just joking around, it's not really funny for women. Safety tips and tricks. Since that incident, I've been much more cautious. To all the women who have taken up running during lockdown, I urge you to continue, but also to take these precautions. 1, don't run in the dark. Well, to be fair, Ashling, I think all of those that we've just talked about, all those 4 women that we've just talked about, who, apart from Samantha, because we don't know exactly what happened to Samantha yet, but all of them, it was in the daytime, it was not at night time. Anyway, she's saying don't run in the dark. I realise this can be difficult for those who work full time. One option is to run from your workplace before starting, after finishing, or during your lunch break. I think that's what Ashling did though. Otherwise, keep your runs to the weekend. The exception to this rule is running in areas where you know people will be around even at night. If this is you, wear white or high-vis clothing. I mean, there are plenty of places, to be fair, where I am, especially in the beach areas where you could run, and there were, a lot of them are very well lit, so you could run there and there would always be people there. Number 2, don't run in isolated areas. Again, depending on where you live and work, this may be difficult. If so, get creative about where and when you set out. Number 3, share your route. Tell a friend or family member where you are running and when you should be home. Number 4, but don't share it with everyone. Map My Run is a fantastic app for tracking distances and creating routes, but avoid using the Friends functionality, which shares your movements with other users. You never know how they're going to use it. Oh my God, I would not dream of sharing my walks, runs, anything with other people. I'm not sure why anybody would want to do that, but obviously people do it. Number 5, mix things up. I think this is very important. don't do the same run every week in case someone has been watching you. So I think it's very, very important to vary your routes, vary the times that you go, you know, mix it up. Don't ever, you know, and I do that definitely with my dog walks. I don't, you know, do exactly the same thing at the same time every day. Safety apps. For those who run with their phone, a useful app is Red Panic Button. When you're in trouble, it allows you to quickly alert. I've never heard of that. Red Panic Button, so anybody, you could pass it, if you're a runner, or you could pass it on to somebody, anybody you know who runs, if they know about this Red Panic Button. I don't know what about that. But it allows you to quickly alert and send your GPS coordinates to a few emergency contacts. And this, number 7 here, which says this is so important: be sensible with music. If you run with headphones, remove them if you find yourself in an isolated area, if it's starting to get dark or you spot any suspicious looking individuals. I would say just don't wear them. You know, you can't you, I suppose you could play music without headphones, I don't know. But in these situations, you should also be aware of your body language. Look around confidently to show you're alert, aware of your surroundings and not lost. And number 8, dogs, women's best friend. There's a lady who runs where I live in my village with her dog. Running with a dog is a common tactic. However, only do this if your beloved pet is fit enough. And my son, he sometimes runs with the German Shepherd as well. When I was 16, I took my blue heeler for a jog early one evening, forgetting that it had been years since we'd run together. Oh, bless, she was too old to run such a distance, and I ended up almost dragging her home in the dark. Oh, it was scary, and I'm still filled with guilt at putting her through such an ordeal. Yeah, you've got to make sure that your dog is up to it. Number 9, road running. Don't be afraid to run along the middle of an empty road. It may sound counterintuitive, but it's more difficult for someone to catch you unawares when in the centre of a well-lit street. Yeah, walking in the middle of the road is better than walking you know, avoid anywhere where there's any trees as well, etc., where bushes that people can hide behind. Of course, that's difficult if you're on a nature trail because there's loads of trees, but anyway, I suppose you've just got to try and stay in the open as much as you can, so that any screams and struggles are more likely to be heard and seen by someone inside, and there is more space to escape. And all of this is less likely if you're on a dark footpath. So, and number 10, keys as a weapon. A lot of people say this, keep your keys in your hand. Maybe one of your keys could have a little sort of pocket knife thing on it, but you know, just in between your fingers. But this can be a little uncomfortable, so just take the ones you need to open your front door. Holding one between your fingers can be used to help defend yourself. Every time I see a solo female runner, I want to share these tips and urge them to keep going. If that's you, I hope you know you can run alone without fear. Well, you know, that's it. So that's her advice. The thing is, you cannot, you know, be 100% certain that you'll be safe. You can't. But I really do feel it shouldn't stop you from doing things, because things, you know, there's danger every time you walk out your door, really. Even, you know, whether you could be run over or accidents happen. You know, accidents happen in the home. You can't be, you know, you've just got to be, you've got to live, haven't you? You've got to live. You can't stop living, because that's like another kind of dying, if you like. If you stop going out, stop doing things because you're frightened that something's going to happen to you, that's another way of dying, if you like. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, you know, and I am speaking as a person. It's quite I could easily become agoraphobic, because especially since COVID, because during COVID, we had to stay at home. I got used to being at home, and it's like I like being at home. And really sometimes I think, oh my God, it's been difficult to get back into the habit of going out. It really has been difficult, and it won't only be for me; it'll be for a lot of people the same. We got used to being at home, and now we can do anything we want now. But now I don't want to do it sometimes, so I have to sort of force myself to go out sometimes. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, as I say. So, and things like covering these cases and things, of course, that can make you, be worried about going out, etc. But I think it's important to try not to let that control you, I think. Now Charlie's saying about keeping fit so you can outrun, and I wouldn't have a chance of outrunning an aggressor. I cannot run. I just can't run. It's no point in me saying that I can. I think the last time probably that I ever went out, I did used to go running when I was in my early 30s, looking at donkeys years ago. There's no way I could run away, so I don't know what I'd do. I do take a stick out with me, just in case. Like, it's a walking stick, but I don't need it for walking. I take it just in case. To be honest, it's more in case of other dogs, because you never know if you're going to encounter someone with an aggressive dog. So it's more for that, really, but it is quite a heavy walking stick in it. But then you don't know, they could take that off you and use it to hurt you. So I don't even know. I don't know what the answer is, but just to be aware. DMV, are you the same? It's funny, but it's not. I like being at home. It's not that I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could go out and I wish I could do this. I'm really actually quite like it. But then sometimes when I make myself go out, I always enjoy it, but it's a bit of an effort. It's a bit of an effort. I mean, I can easily talk myself out of going out because I'm happy at home. I've always, that's the sort of person I am. I'm never get bored. The days go by so quick. There's always something to do. In fact, I normally haven't got enough time to do all the things I want to do. So, but sometimes I do have to force myself to go out. And of course, I'm going on location soon, so that'd be nice because when was the last time? So it was July and August, wasn't it? When I was in Manchester last year, that's the last time I think that I've been anywhere apart from my little village. So it'd be nice to get to go somewhere different, and I'll be doing videos from there. That'll be interesting, hopefully. Hi, Matthew. Yes, I'm going on location next month, sort of towards the middle end of the month. But there's a lot of people feeling the same way. Well, that might makes me feel better that it's not just me being antisocial. But of course, now you see with the internet, you can still be sociable, but you don't have to go out to be sociable. That's how the world's changed, isn't it? For young people as well. When I was young, if we didn't go out, I mean, we didn't even have a phone in my house. I had to go up the road to the red telephone box if I wanted to phone my friends. I was about 16 before we got a phone in my house. I had to badger my dad to get a telephone. It's so you had to go out. So if I didn't go out, I wouldn't see my friends. If you didn't go, but now you can have parties at home, can't you? You can socialise at home. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. So part of it is, and part of it isn't. And I think for young people, it's just common now, isn't it? To socialise. They meet people over the internet. It's just, that's the way life is now. It's not, It's not like it used to be. Oh. Yeah, Heather. I think lockdown changed a lot, changed a lot of things. I think it's some things for the better, you know. There's things that I think, oh, if it wouldn't have been for lockdown, like Zoom classes, my Spanish classes, etc., probably, you know, doing like the YouTube and that, probably wouldn't have ended up doing it if I wouldn't have got more into it, like with my Spanish YouTube, and then ended up doing this. So there are positive things that came out of lockdown. And of course, a lot of people now work at home, which is better than that bloody commute to work every day. But yeah, I think a lot of people probably, you know, and young people, I think especially young people, it's probably affected their mental health a little bit because of not being able to go out, etc. But you're working from home most of the time now, Heather. Yeah, I mean, these are positive things, I think. You know, it's nice to work from home. The only thing about working from home, and I've worked from home for a while, because even when I was doing face-to-face classes, my classroom is downstairs, so I've worked from home for quite a long time now. The only thing is you never really feel that you're away from work. You know, it's that I used to quite like that. You know, you come out of your house, you get in your car and you drive off to work. There's a detach there, isn't there? And then when you finish work and you drive home, you're sort of unwinding, you know, and feeling that you're coming away from work. So, of course, when you work from home, you never feel that you're really away from work. That's the only thing. But, you know, most of the time, you don't mind that because it's just so convenient. But every now and again, I do think, you know, and that's why it'd be nice to get out on location, go somewhere different, and, you know, just a change of scenery. We all need a change of scenery sometimes, don't we? Yeah. Well, you know, there's a new, the sort of new, what's the word, not craze exactly, but you know, there's a gravitation now towards daytime partying, like nightclubs and things like that. So there's a big increase in, because nighttime, you know, that's when we all went out, or certainly when I went out. You know, when I was young, you'd go out. I was out every night at one point when I was a teenager, literally every night, probably up to when I was about 25. I was out virtually every night somewhere. It might not every night would be a late night, but every night I'd be out with friends, you know, going to the pub. We'd be playing cards, with darts, I mean, everything, you know. I was never at home in the evenings. And now there's a gravitation towards daytime partying, if you like, because everything's changed now, like the way young people even order their lives. You know, there's not so many people work like a 9 to 5. A lot of them work on the internet, or they work sort of, you know, the whole day structure now is different than it used to be. And now, very popular apparently now, are these daytime sort of clubs. So people go clubbing in the day rather than at night. I quite like that idea, actually. You know, and then I don't know. What do you think? I think hi Wesley. I think daytime partying is quite a good thing, isn't it? You know, and then you've got time to recover before the next morning, before you've got work the next morning. So yeah. Okay, so there you go. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Don't think there's been any news about Samantha. Heather, Vicky McClure. She's the one from, oh God, I always forget the name of that programme. Oh, I really like her. Oh, yeah. A day disco for older people. But do you know what? I think even younger people are going to these day discos now. I think I'll start one. Shall I start one? I need to start one here in Spain. A lot of people go out in the daytime here because, of course, a lot of the people are on holiday. So, you know, they can go out anytime. But I think it's a really good idea, actually. A day disco. Yeah. Yeah, you go out, have a couple of hours partying, you know, because, and, you know, I love dancing. I really, really do love dancing. I never go dancing now. So it'd be nice to get out and get dancing. That's good exercise, isn't it? Yeah, day disco. Yeah, like being back at Celavi. Heather. What's the name of that bloody programme that Vicky McClure's in? What is it called? The police I can never remember the name of it. Yeah, I'm just going to have a look, Alana, actually. I think before I go, I'm just going to have a look. Oh, God, my voice is going. To see if there are any updates. I don't think so. There's not many posts on there. They're just... right, on one of the Facebook groups I'm on. They're just thanking everyone who participated. Doesn't say that they found anything in particular or anything. Yeah, just thanking everyone for participating and saying that they're going to, you know, ground crew, people saying that they're going to go out again at some point. What else have we got? No, nothing on that one. I don't think we're waiting for the police again, I think now. I think they'll probably silence again for a while and then suddenly they'll come out. Yeah, somebody's asking here, any updates yet on new findings? And everyone's answering no. So I think the answer to that is no, I'm afraid. But, you know, it's daytime now, isn't it, in Australia, so something might come out as time goes on. And if it does, in the morning, I will report, even though I'm working tomorrow, but I will try and give a little update before I start work, if there is anything to update, of course. Yeah, look, the police will come out when they're ready. They'll come out and the police are definitely, in my opinion, not manipulating, but managing, you know, the information that they give out. They're giving it out deliberately, bits and pieces, for a reason. And when and you know, they're doing, I think they're trying to make someone nervous. Could you imagine if you had done something to Samantha, if you were the one, and then the police are coming out and making these statements here and there, they're doing this, they're doing that, you'd be very edgy because you wouldn't know exactly what they knew. And I think the police are doing that on purpose to try and make people nervous. So that's my opinion anyway. So exactly, giving someone enough rope, they're onto something and they're just teasing that person, trying to, you know, wait until they're just waiting for the right moment and seeing what whoever it is they think is, you know, whoever is on their radar, trying to see what they'll do and if they'll make a mistake. I think. Heather, did you used to work for Bupa in Manchester? As my dad used to work at Bupa Hospital in Manchester. My dad worked at Bupa. for after he was made redundant from his sort of, his lifetime job that he had. He worked for Turner's Asbestos, and then he was made redundant and he started work at Bupa in Manchester. Maybe you knew him. Maybe you knew my dad, Heather. He worked in the, God, what did he do? Do you know, it's awful, isn't it, when you're a kid or when you're young and you don't take any notice whatsoever of what your parents do? Stanley Riley. Stanley, and he retired from there in the end. Oh gosh, what was it? He was like in the stores, it's when my dad was made redundant from Turner's Asbestos. He was absolutely, my dad was a worker, he was absolutely gutted to be made redundant, gutted. And he was heartbroken, basically, because it took him quite a while to get another job, because he wasn't old enough to retire, but he was in his he was in his 50s, let's say. I can't remember the exact details. I feel awful, but I can't, because I was a teenager and I was just busy going out and having fun. But he finally got this job at Bupa, and he was over the moon that he was working again, because he hated claiming benefits. He had to claim benefits when he was first made redundant. So he anyway, and he ended up working at Bupa, and he worked there till he retired. Yeah, he worked in where was the hospital? Wasn't it was it somewhere near Trafford Bar or somewhere like that? Where was the hospital? Yeah, he worked in the hospital. I don't think he didn't work in Salford. I thought he was somewhere near Trafford Bar or whatever. Yeah, he worked. It was actually in the hospital, because he dealt with the supplies and the stores, etc. But as I say, I don't know the full details, unfortunately. Oh, so Wendy's talking there about Mr. Foulding got his pictures verified in the USA. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll look at that at some point. I think actually, though, isn't this the company that he buys his sonar equipment from? Anyway, I've decided I'm not talking about Peter Foulding anymore, because it just causes so much division. And do you know what? It doesn't make any difference, to be honest, I don't think. He went on his bike, Heather. He used to get he was a cyclist, my dad. He used to cycle everywhere. So he went on his bike to work. All his working life, he cycled to work and back, whatever the weather. He was, when I think about it now, it must have been awful. Okay, I'm going to love you and leave you, as they say. Thank you for being here with me. Have a great rest of the evening. I'll be back in the morning with any updates. And remember to live and love carefully, wisely. If you or anyone you know goes out jogging, remember to give them the advice that lady gave. And just stay safe out there, whether it's jogging, walking your dog, or whatever you do. Please stay safe. And until I see you again, as always, may your God go with you. Thank you so much. Bye.